An audio medium unlike anything you've ever heard before. The pinnacle of sound experience. Jacked and Canned. Featuring John Tessman and Colby Tyler. A place where you will get the information you crave and hear about the topics that you love. Presented by themselves. Coming to you from the basement, bar, and the bedroom. Sponsored by no one. Jacked and Canned.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sports Roundtable with Jacked and Canned, joined as always by John Tessman. John, how are we doing this afternoon?
Dude, doing good, man. Excited. We're kicking this off with an early afternoon recording.
Early morning, huh? Hours
Dude,
got shifted on me.
Well, Colbs, it could be your morning, right? You did share that you've
Kinda
been
is.
working late, so it could be your morning. Wherever you're listening, it might be your morning as well. So if you know Jacked and Canned, then you know the Sports Roundtable and exactly how it kicks off. So right here, we are going to be talking about who's on top. Colb's favorite division, the AHL. Colbs, you excited?
Yeah, pumped.
Atlantic Division, here we go. We got the Charlotte Checkers sitting on top. Ooh, somebody got kinged. Checkers, is that what it's called? Kinged? Knighted? Queened? Help me
Kinged.
out, Colbs.
Kinged, yes.
Kinged, thank you.
Yes,
They got
yeah,
kinged.
king me.
King me. So the Charlotte Checkers just kinged somebody because they just clinched a division spot. Springfield Thunderbirds, Providence Bruins, shout out to them. Damn. Shout out to the Hartford Wolfpack. They fell all the way down to number 6. And then number 7, Bridgeport Islanders. CT, I don't know what's going on, Connecticut land. North Division, the Utica Comets, sitting on top over there, clinched it. Central Division, Chicago Wolves. They clinched it over there. Pacific Division, Stockton Heat, Ontario Reign, and Colorado Eagles. Oh my God, no way, this can't be right. Abbotsford Canucks, Bakersfield Condors, and the Henderson Silver Knights. Apparently, all 6 in the Pacific Division ended up clinching a playoff position. Something's got to be wrong there with the website because that just doesn't sound right to me.
Well, I'm assuming that they probably didn't put the top tier guy on the AHL webpage.
Well, it's perfect. If he wants to come over to Jacked and Canned, he'll fit perfectly fine over here with us. So you're more than welcome to join us. All right, going over to their parent league, whatever the hell you want to call it, the NHL Colbs. NHL standings, Atlantic Division, Panthers sitting on top over there. Shout out to the Bruins, 45 and 23, sitting over there at number 4. Metropolitan Division, Hurricanes sitting on top. The Rangers right behind them. Western Conference, Central Division, the Avalanche sitting on top. Pacific Division, the Flames are on top over there. Golden Knights kind of falling down a little bit. But Pacific Division is another tough one. So, I don't know. Hockey seems to be pretty tight this year, Colbs. It's like no one's...
No, I'm telling you, after Florida and Carolina, it looks like the Maple Leafs are pulling away relatively well as far as getting that number 3 spot in the East, but the entire rest of the Eastern Conference is at 4, 5, 6, 7. They are all right there. Tampa, Boston, the other 2 teams right now aren't hitting me, but they're all in there. Then I want to say Detroit's rounded it out at 8. But when I look at what's going on in hockey right now, I just get excited because hockey is one of those sports where not every time, not every season does the best team always necessarily win. Oftentimes it comes down to a team messing up and then the other team wins. And it makes the game a little bit more fun to watch because you're not going in there knowing, okay, here's this dynasty team that's just going to run away with it. You can get some surprises, some upsets. And considering that all these teams are already close, this is going to be a blast in the NHL playoffs, man. I mean, I'll tell you right now, if Boston doesn't end up being able to get it done, I'm really hoping that the Panthers do. That's going to be my my backup following team this year.
Hey, I'm excited to see some playoff hockey. That's probably the only time I really tune into it.
And we got breaking down the tape, blowing up our comment section. They are clearly Rangers fans with you, John.
Hey, there we go. Breaking down the tape. What's up, boys? So, oh yes, Rangers for sure. Let's go. I'm going to post that right up on there. Let's go Rangers. I'm going to leave that there for a little while.
Yep, you
Colts.
probably will the whole damn show
I probably will. I probably will. And I'm going to change it to Rangers winning the cup because that's what the prediction is going to be. And that's what's going to
because you
happen.
saw something shiny and new.
I saw something shiny and new. Colb's IFL, Indoor Football League.
Oh, god damn it.
The 2022 football standings. Over there in the Eastern Division, we got the Massachusetts Pirates sitting on top 3-0 Western. We got the Arizona Rattlers sitting on top. Colts, not really who's on top, but a little bit of important information here. USFL, they're getting ready for kickoff this upcoming weekend. Are you excited?
Nope.
Fair enough. Colts, the XFL, announcing some massive news today. Are you excited?
No.
All right. In the words of breaking down the tape, let's go Colbs. I'm going to add Colbs at the end of that one. So Colbs is not excited. XFL, Colbs, all teams have been announced a head coach, and Bob Stoops is coming back. Wade Phillips is going to be a head coach over there as well, just to name a couple of them. But I am excited for the XFL to come back. I did see their new logo.
Really? Bob Stoops?
Yeah.
Digging deep on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, Wade Phillips makes sense, even though I still think that Wade Phillips could be an NFL, coordinator, if nothing else. I mean, that's something. I don't really know what to do with that. Bob Stoops. Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What, were you a fan of his?
That not necessarily, just that's a name that I haven't heard be relevant in quite some time.
Well, here's a couple of names for you too. Rod Woodson and Heinz Wards were named among 8 head
Oh,
coaches.
Heinz Ward, that guy. I can't get past Super Bowl 40, man. Anybody that was on that Steelers team, I just have to hate them. So Heinz Ward was a great receiver, played for the Steelers for had to be about 12, 15 years, somewhere in that realm. He's towards the top of the leaderboards. I think he's like just outside of top 10 in damn near every category, and I hate him.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Going over to the NBA standings over here. Well, obviously we know how that kind of went through, but I don't think we announced it here on the pod. We haven't done it since the season officially closed, Colbs. So Eastern Conference, who's on top? The Heat. The Western Conference, who's on top? The Suns. Damn, the Suns record 64-18.
So, John, I just want to bring this up real quick because I'm looking at the upcoming games, and obviously we're doing the play-in games right now, but I don't understand necessarily the format of this. So they had the Nets play the Cavs last night, and the Nets won, so the Nets are in, which should in theory then make them the 7 seed, but they're not going to be playing the 2 seed. It mixes up weird. They're playing, I believe, the 3 seed there. And it's really like conjumbled the way this is working. It's not going like just a strictly 1 through 8. 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7, 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5. And it's just annoying to me because I want to just know what's happening. Granted, I know where it goes from here as far as who gets in, which I guess is what really counts. Where tonight we're going to have the Hornets and the Hawks play. The winner of that will play the Cavs, and the winner of that will then get into the playoffs. But I'm just curious as to how this is supposed to line up so that in the future, I know before the game happens what I'm watching. Like I knew last night if the Nets won that they were going forward, but I thought they'd be going forward to play Milwaukee. So I'm kind of confused by it because I think they're playing Boston. I think the Nets will now play Boston in the first round.
Oh, it's freaking weird how they're doing it. And for those of you that aren't the biggest basketball fans like myself, all right, just to kind of run this down, the top 10 teams over there, they got a chance. So the Heat clinched the conference. The Bucks clinched the division. The Celtics, 76ers, Raptors, Bulls, and Nets, they clinched a playoff position. And the Cavs, Hawks, and Hornets, they clinched a play-in position. So that already sounds a little weird. I mean, hey, I'm game for it because it
Well,
means
I
that
mean, the
underdog.
loser of tonight's Hawks Hornets game, they're out, and then the winner plays the Cavs, and the winner of that goes to the actual playoffs.
Western Conference Colts. We got the Suns that clinched the conference. Grizzlies clinched the division. Warriors, Mavs, Jazz, Nuggets, Timberwolves end up clinching a playoff position. And we got the Clippers, Pelicans, and Spurs who clinched a play-in position. Now, Colts, this is heartbreaking for me because I was paying attention to it because of you. Damn, the Lakers were kind of freaking close to that number 10 spot right there at the end of the season. It looked like
Well, I
they're
mean,
one game
they
back.
rested their starters for the last like 3 games. They had given up
Oh.
on it. Yeah. I wish that LeBron came out there and played against OKC at least, because he ends up also not getting the scoring title, which was kind of what he was going for towards the end of the year. So he ends up getting beat out for that too. I'm like, if he would have just went out there and dropped 56 on OKC, take home the scoring title, get out of here, Zach.
For those of you that aren't watching us here on YouTube, good opportunity to
Oh
go
yeah,
back
I
and
guess
do
for
it.
the audience, this would be good to break down why we're saying that.
Yeah. So for those of you that aren't watching on YouTube, we are streaming live over there. If you haven't had the chance to check us out live, just go ahead and type it in on YouTube on Jacked and Canned. You'll see all of our videos. But breaking down the tape is over here, showing us some love, and mention that we are going to be dragging Colbs to all the minor league games. Yes, 100% we are. 1000% that we are. So I'm excited for that because Colb's going to be playing a little fantasy football this year for the first time. He's going to be paying
Oh
attention to
yeah, I did agree to that. God damn it.
so it's a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun. Colb's, dude. NFL news. I know the season ain't going on right now, and all other sorts of football is coming up. But did you hear about the recent news with Derek Carr?
I can't say that I have, John. What happened with Derek Carr?
So he ended up agreeing to a 3-year contract extension with the Raiders.
Oh, well,
So
that's
it looks
honestly, I mean, the Raiders, I think, need to keep him because, in all seriousness, unless they're going to go get one of those elite guys, what else are they going to do? Derek Carr is a very good quarterback. He's beyond like one of these serviceable guys like a Teddy Bridgewater. Derek Carr is very good. Granted, he might be the fourth best quarterback in his division, but that's mostly just because that division's loaded with quarterbacks right now. So, I mean, Derek Carr is a very good quarterback, and for the Raiders to continue their success and continue to move upward, they're really going to have to build the team around Derek Carr. 40 mil per year. How about that? He did secure the bag, Zach. Holy shit. 40 mil a year for Derek Carr. I mean, honestly, with the going rate of quarterbacks today, I don't know that he's not worth that. The only thing that sucks is you really have to make sure that you get an awesome team around him because, again, in that division with Kansas City, with Patrick Mahomes out there launching the ball left and right, granted, he doesn't have his weapon with Tyreek Hill, but he's still got that Kelsey monster. And then you're talking about Russell Wilson with the Broncos. I mean, I got to imagine if he was able to do what he just did with the Seahawks over the last couple of years when they really haven't had a good team, they just had Russ, he's probably going to make Denver a pretty good team. And Justin Herbert, I don't know what we see out of him in the next couple of years, but everything points to the signs of he's going to be damn good. So and also the Chargers are building a hell of a roster around him too. I just have to throw that out there. So when I look at the AFC West, I mean, for the Vegas Raiders to stay competitive, I think they have to have Derek Carr there. I think it's the only way, and they just have to continue to build the team around him. But hey, good for them. I got a buddy at work that's a Raiders fan. I'll have to talk with him about it because I know that he likes Derek.
100%. Colts. Also, too, a little Seattle Seahawk news coming up here. They ended up picking up Noah Fant's 5th-year option. There's going to be your threat right there. That's your tight end.
Oh, he's a good tight end. I mean, there's parts of his game that have a little bit to be desired, but as far as the receiving tight end, nailed it. So I'm good with him. We can keep that going. We actually have a good blocking tight end in Will Dissly that I think everybody forgets is on our roster. So, and Will Dissly can catch too. He's one of those guys that's a little bit injury prone, but that's going to give us the tight end sets that we really need to have the right guys in place. I know at this point Gerald Everett moved on, but that's fine. We got Noah Fant. So that'll work out. We got weapons as far as receivers go. It's just we don't have the guy to throw him the ball. I mean, we got Drew Lock and actually, I'm still not even sure if we re-signed Gino.
I'm hoping. I want Gino to be the starter. Gino, 2022. Come on, let's do it. But Colbs, that's the whole segment of who's on top, my friend. What else you got today?
All right, John. So I wanted to start off with UFC 273 because obviously you know that I check out the big event every month, the big UFC event. I go over to my buddy's house, we hang out, we watch the fights. So it was pretty fun, John, I have to say. And granted, I will take just a moment here, John, to pull up the standings of it. Not because I don't remember the fights, but because there's one fighter in particular who I had never heard of. And I watched his fight, and he was incredible, and I never remember what his name was. I've
Was
only
it
known
the
his name for about a week. All right, I got us
was
pulled
it the
up now.
Korean Zombie? Because that just threw me off.
No, it was not the Korean Zombie. I was aware of him. Now, John, this card, at least as far as the main card is concerned, started off with Vink Pichel against Mark Madsen. Mark was an Olympian, as it turns out, and he was able to utilize those wrestling skills. But when I tell you that Vink Pichel looks like Bronson from that movie Bronson, that's what he looks like, dude. Just big bald guy with a giant mustache. I'm telling you, that guy gets into more bar fights than anybody else in the UFC, and it's not even close. I know nothing about him. We go to the next fight of the night where we had Mackenzie Dern against Tisha Tiny Tornado Torres. Michelle had her favorite fighter there in Tiny Tornado because she was absolutely tiny. Oddly enough, this was a fight of people that one of the ladies was my height and the other one was Michelle's height, just something else that I found interesting. Mackenzie Dern can
So basically,
wrestle.
it's you and Michelle in a brawl.
Yeah, more or less. And the one that was my height won, Mackenzie Dern. She is a phenomenal wrestler. Oh my God. I mean, Tiny Tornado was doing all right on the feet, but when that fight went to the ground, Mackenzie Dern is just phenomenal. Then we go to the one that I didn't know, John. We had Gilbert Burns, who was actually going, he was pretty much next in line to fight Kamaru Usman for the welterweight title. And he ends up taking this fight against this undefeated UFC fighter named Kamzat Shemaev. And this guy is undefeated. He won all of his fights in the first round. But he was ranked 11th in the division, in the welterweight division. And usually you don't see the second ranked guy fight the 11th ranked guy. So for Gilbert, he was actually going into this as the underdog. And if I was going to put money on any fight, I would have put it on Gilbert because Gilbert Burns is awesome. Dude, this Kamzat guy, he is good. Like, holy shit, man. He uses all of his range, and he has plenty of it as far as his reach advantage goes. And he can fight in every bit of this game, but he was phenomenal on his feet, man. He just kept sitting there with the jab and then just unorthodox shots. It kind of reminded me of what, like, McGregor looked at when he fought at 145, where he just had more reach than everybody and just throwing wild shit that you wouldn't expect. It was phenomenal, man. Like, I was shocked. And granted, this guy did not win this in the first round. This went to a decision, and this dude won with like a giant cut across his whole cheek. Like,
Oof.
by the time he got to his post-fight interview, he already had it stitched up. It was that kind of bad. But he got the win, and I was impressed as hell. Gilbert Burns at the end of it was just throwing overhand rights just to try to stay in there. The co-main event of the evening, we had the bantamweight title on the line with Aljamain Sterling and Peter Yan. Aljamain Sterling got 2 takedowns in the third and fourth round, or no, you know what? It was the second and third round. And he just sat on top of him for the whole round. So he won those 2 rounds. Peter Yan won the fourth and the fifth. Aljamain Sterling, who's one of the better wrestlers in not only the division, but the entire UFC, was 2 for 11 on takedowns. But he really executed on the 2 that he got, because I'm telling you, this guy, he just kept trying to get takedowns and they weren't working. He was telegraphing it, and it just was ugly. It was a bad fight to watch in all seriousness. And then the main event of the evening, Alexander Volkanovski against the Korean Zombie. Volkanovski's been off for a little while. He had recovered from an injury, and holy shit, he is better than he's ever been. He was so precise with his jab, and it was just jab, jab, 1-2, jab, jab, 1-2. Fuck it, 1-2, jab, jab. Like, it didn't matter, man. He was just pounding them. And Korean Zombie's got all sorts of knockouts when you look at his resume. And if you look at a highlight film of him, it's like, holy shit, this guy can really throw hands. But no, not against Volkanovski, man. Like, holy shit, that guy is good. So that is the breakdown of UFC 273. Kind of short and sweet, but right to the point. Still fresh on my mind. It was probably the last sporting event that I watched I really gave a shit about. So I wanted to bring that up. And John, I wanted to dive into, remember how I told you that Tom Brady might be heading to the Dolphins?
Oh, don't you dare. You're
No,
gonna
no,
make
no,
me
no.
type something in.
I
Okay.
wanna
No.
I wanna tell you a little bit more because remember how I told you that I just kept seeing a bunch of people saying that it's gonna happen or that it could happen, and then I never had anything to tell me why that might be. So I got a little bit more insight on this. So Ben Volin, and I don't know who he works for. I'd love to credit him, but all I know is his name as of now. He did some reporting on this, and Tom Brady and Sean Payton were both set to go to the Dolphins, right? And the way that this was going to work is that Brady was going to retire. He was essentially then going to take over as president or someone in the front office of the Miami Dolphins and then unretire next year. And then at that point, Tampa should be well set. They got their new guy in there. He's already played a season. You're not going to sit him back down and put Brady in. So you actually give up Brady to the Dolphins for less picks than you would right now. And then Brady was going to unretire and be the Dolphins quarterback. John, he was going to take a year off now. Like he was going to unretire at 46. How crazy is that, man? This dude's never going to stop. I'm telling you. I wish that I had this insight 2 months ago. Just when we saw that he had retired and I was all depressed about it, I wish that I could have just been sitting here right now talking to myself like, don't worry about it. He's not done. He's never done. In fact, he's not even going to miss a game.
Ooh.
I just love that he's back. But ultimately, what blew this up, John, from happening was when Brian Flores got fired and then he went and sued the NFL. What ends up taking place here is everybody's like, oh shit, we can't do any of this. We can't hire Sean Payton right now. Brady, we can't really do this thing with you right now. And so everything just kind of creeps back into the shadows. And there's nothing to say that it won't still happen, but it doesn't appear that it will happen this year from everything that I've gathered. But Sean Payton, full blown, when he retired, said, yeah, I probably am going to come out of retirement like a year or two. Like this whole thing's just been lined up. And Brady evidently is pretty close with Sean Payton as well, which is something that I had no idea of. And yes, as Zach points out here in the comment section, Brady's also going to be minority ownership of the Dolphins, which that's still set to take place regardless. As soon as he is actually retired, he will be taking some minority ownership of the Miami Dolphins. I don't quite understand where, I mean, I know that he's got the connection with Stephen Ross, but I just don't understand where that stems from. You would think that considering how close he is with Robert Kraft, or at least was, you would think that if he was going to do this, it would be in New England, especially where everybody loves him. But hell, what do I know? Miami's cooler.
That's what you would think, but Miami might be cooler, and who knows? It's the same thing with like Derek Jeter from baseball. For some reason, he went over to the Miami Marlins, where he ended up jumping on board with them.
Well,
for a
that's,
little while.
I think that's part of it, though, is that when these guys start getting into the spot where it's post career and you don't have to worry about your actual playing career, you want to go somewhere that it's warm. You want to go somewhere where there's sun, where there's shit to do, where you can put your supermodel wife outside in a bikini all day. Like you don't want to be cooped up in Boston or New York where it's
No.
cold for 9 months out of the year.
Yeah, no. And good point by breaking down the tape here. He just likes to torch at the Jets. Maybe that's actually what it is.
Well, I like the idea of him coming back to Miami as the quarterback to stick at the Belichick twice a year.
That would be cool.
That
would
was
be
the part
awesome.
that got me. I'm like, holy shit, he was just going to run over there and then just totally betray all of the Boston fanship.
Absolutely.
Oh God, yeah. Florida doesn't have state tax, if I'm not mistaken. Them and Texas are the two big ones that always come to mind that players will go to.
So that right there is enough reason for Tom Brady to do that. So now I'm going to be looking out for next year, and I'm sure a lot of other people will be as well, and seeing if Tom Brady is going to go ahead and go play in Miami. I hope he does. And I hope he doesn't retire. I hope he's 50, 55 years old and he's still playing.
Yeah, I hope, John, I'm not kidding when I say this. I want for one day when I pass away, because it'll happen to me, but I want when that happens that Tom Brady's still out there winning Super Bowls.
That would be amazing. That'd be amazing. Who knows? When Tom Brady's done with the NFL, maybe he'll go over and go play for the USFL, XFL.
No, he's not. He's not going to be done with the NFL, John. I'm not even doing the thing where I'm shitting on your other leagues that even though they have all the reason to be shit on, that's not what I'm doing right now. I don't want Tom Brady out of the NFL ever. I don't care.
Bring Tom to Miami. Put T.O. over there as a number 4 wide receiver, and I'm a happy camper. And I'll be pulling for the Dolphins all season long next year. That's what I can hope for.
So, John, we're coming up on NFL draft time, and this is going to be the first time in a long time that I actually get to be excited about the draft because the Seahawks have a top 10 pick. And we just brought in our first quarterback to interview, and forgive me for not remembering the name, but the reason I don't remember the name is because it was a name I had not heard of. And I'm like, you got to be shitting me. Like, this cannot be what we're doing. Like, if we're going to be interviewing quarterbacks that we might take in the draft, it better be Malik Willis and it better be, shit, I'm blanking on the other kid's name, Kenny Pickett. That's the only two quarterbacks that I could even consider. And I don't really want either of them. What I'd like to do is get a goddamn offensive line.
Desmond Ryder is his name.
Yeah, that's right. That was the name. So, I mean, hopefully that's like one of those, well, maybe if we still got the pick in the third round, even though I don't even want to do that. I don't want to play that game. All I want to do is build this damn team. Let's get an offensive line. Let's get some cornerbacks that I know their names for this year. That would be pretty cool. And we can take it from there. That's the two main things that we need. I don't care what any of these experts are telling me. And I understand that now our linebacking core is a little bit more depleted. And that is something that we'll have to do a little bit of work on. But we do have Jordan Brooks and we have Cody Barton. They're fine. I honestly, Jordan Brooks was like top 3 in the league in tackles. So I think that we're going to be okay as far as linebacker goes for the foreseeable future. We got good young talent there. What we don't have is an offensive line, and literally, I think I played 4 games at corner for Seattle last year.
Well, hell, I know we mentioned the Jets before, so the Jets could always go ahead and give you back that 10th pick for DK.
Yeah.
They love it.
I mean, it sounds to me like DK wants to stay, but if DK is going to go, then I'd rather it happen sooner than later. I don't want to get used to, okay, yeah, DK's sticking it out with us. He's going to be here. And then a year from now, after he realizes Drew Lock sucks, he's like, oh, yeah, you know what? I'll go anywhere. I don't care.
Unless it's Baker Day in Seattle.
Baker's not going to solve it, man. I don't want to go 8-9. I don't want to be that team that's just teetering 8-9, 9-8 every year.
Yeah, fair enough. How do you think
if we're going to suck, I want to suck.
How do you think the Broncos are going to do with Russ over there? Are you going to pay attention? You're going to follow?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to follow the hell out of it, but I don't understand how I don't know how this division's going to go. I still believe that Kansas City is just better than you. I've been saying it for 2 years. I just feel that way. I think they are the most dangerous team in football, and I don't know what it looks like with Tyreek Hill, and I don't want to think about it until I see it. But they are incredibly dangerous. Vegas is a very good team. The Chargers, as long as because they have a lot of young players, as long as those guys are on their A game, they are a great team. And Denver now with Russell Wilson, I mean, again, you're taking Russell Wilson that's brought Seattle success over the last couple of years and you're putting him on a more fitted roster. I think that they're going to be very good. So I don't know how this division shakes out, though. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if everybody splits the games with each other and all these teams end up just being like 10-7.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Hey, here's an interesting one for you, too. Colin Kaepernick going over there to Seattle.
Yeah, he's been working out with Tyler Lockett this offseason. I wouldn't be pissed if we brought in Kaepernick. I mean, I don't think the Kaepernick brings us to greatness because he hasn't really been, I mean, not by his own fault, but he hasn't been in the league for a few years. What I would want to say is that if we brought in Kaepernick, I think that's the perfect guy that gets me to like 6-11 every year, and we still get pretty high draft picks. I'm fine with that.
So who's the one out there right now, the best chance that the Seahawks have to get back to that greatness?
Mahomes. Like, I don't know what you want from me here. The Seahawks are going to have to probably draft a quarterback at this point, John, but not this year because I don't really care for what we have coming up in this draft. And, I think that there's obviously some positive traits in Willis and in Pickett, but I don't think that either of them are somebody that you can necessarily say, yep, that's my guy forever. I don't see it. So I say we wait a year on getting a quarterback. I'm fine with bringing in a Kaepernick for this season. That would be fine. And then we talk about it again next offseason where maybe there's some stuff going on. Hell, maybe we'll land the last couple of years of Rodgers.
Maybe get the last couple of years of Brady whenever he decides to do it.
I mean, if we can get no, Brady's not moving up Northwest. He doesn't want any of this rain.
True. Breaking down the tape, bringing up an interesting thing here. AFC West is the definition of a nuclear arms race. For real, that is tough. Cobes was talking about that during the regular
It's
season.
impossible. Like,
It's
these are 4
impossible.
division-winning teams. I don't understand how this division's gonna shake out. I just don't get it. I mean, I think the Raiders are clearly what are the lowest ceiling, but I honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if they end up being better than Denver and Los Angeles there. I I I honestly still think Kansas City's the best team in this division. But outside of them, I could see it going any direction. This is Russ's first year with Denver. Who knows how it exactly shapes out? Justin Herbert's still young. Granted, these young quarterbacks apparently are just getting better and better, but I don't understand it. And yes, I agree with Zach's take that he just threw down there in the comment section. I do think the whole division is going to make the playoffs this year. I really do. And by the way, shocking revelation that I will give you on the front end. I think Cincinnati misses the playoffs this year.
Whew. Damn, bold prediction. That's how we should end it right there. But dude, everybody in that division, everybody in that whole division could make the playoffs if it's part of the AHL, because it seems like every team in their division are making, and they all clinch the playoffs. So please, ladies and gents, go check out that website.
Yeah, I
Unless I'm
kind of got a
reading-
feeling the AHL lets everybody into the playoffs. It's like my softball league.
True, true. Well, it only seems like that one right there. But ladies and gents, it's going to wrap it up for us today. Breaking down the tape.
Well,
Thank you.
not
Oh,
necessarily for today, because we have another episode to do, John.
oh, the sports roundtable's done for today. Check us back.
That's
We're going to be
right.
live in a couple of minutes for those of you that are checking us out. For those of you, Zach giving some laughs down below. Appreciate the love, man. We'll be right back for a regular episode. Check us out.